The scent of him is the first betrayal. It cuts through the mundane smells of beeswax polish and lye soap that cling to my maid's uniform, a storm of ozone, frost, and ancient pine that promises power and belonging. It is the scent of the Alpha King, and for a heart-stopping, impossible moment, it is the scent of my mate. My breath catches. The platter of roasted pheasant in my hands trembles, threatening to slide onto the polished stone floor. Around me, the great hall of the Moonstone Citadel buzzes with the energy of the mate's welcome, a ceremony held once a decade for the unmated wolves of our kingdom to find their fated partners. I am not supposed to be part of it. I am wolfless. A human-born servant living on the charity of the pack that took in my parents. My presence here is functional, not celebratory. I am here to serve, to be invisible. But the bond cares nothing for status. It is a primal, undeniable force. It crashes into me, a tidal wave of recognition that makes my knees weak. Across the hall, seated on his obsidian throne, Alpha King Reese lifts his head. His gaze, the color of a winter sky, sweeps the room, dismissing courtiers and highborn ladies alike. His nostrils flare, and I know. He smells it too. The scent of night-blooming jasmine and scorched earth that my mother told me was the mark of our bloodline, a scent I always thought was faint and unremarkable. To him, it is a beacon. His eyes lock onto mine. The world narrows to the space between us. The noise of the hall fades to a distant hum. I see the shock on his face, the raw, unguarded surprise. For a second, a universe of hope blooms in my chest, so fierce and bright it hurts. Mine, a voice whispers in the deepest part of my soul, a dormant, sleeping thing I never knew existed. Mate. He is my mate, the king, the most powerful shifter on the continent. And I am Elara, the maid who scrubs his floors. He stands. The movement is fluid, a predator uncoiling. A hush falls over the great hall as every eye follows his. He walks toward me, his steps measured and deliberate. The scent of him intensifies with every footfall, wrapping around me, sinking into my skin. It feels like coming home to a place I have never been. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat of hope and terror. This cannot be real. It is a dream, a cruel fantasy my lonely heart has concocted. He stops a mere pace away. He is taller than I imagined, a mountain of contained power. The silver circlet on his brow seems to pulse with a light of its own. His eyes, so cold from a distance, are now a swirling storm of confusion, disbelief, and something else. Something that looks like profound disappointment. The hope in my chest begins to curdle. You, he says. His voice a low growl that vibrates through the floor, through the soles of my worn shoes, and up into my very bones. It is not a question. It is an accusation. I cannot find my voice. I can only nod, my gaze fixed on the hard line of his jaw. The platter is impossibly heavy now. I should curtsy. I should lower my eyes. I am a servant in the presence of her king. But the bond holds me captive, forcing me to meet his gaze, to stand as an equal he clearly does not see. He takes a sharp breath, and the scent of his anger, bitter and cold like burnt frost, washes over me. It is a slap in the face. The fates mock me, he murmurs, his voice soft enough that only I can hear it, yet each word is a sharpened blade against my heart. They give me a human, a servant. The public humiliation begins there. A collective gasp ripples through the crowd as they finally understand who he has singled out. Not a highborn daughter from a visiting pack, not even a low-ranked she-wolf from our own, a wolfless maid. The whispers start, venomous and sharp. Shame, hot and suffocating, floods my veins. I wish the stone floor would swallow me whole. His father, the former Alpha King, a cruel man whose scent is of stale power and iron, steps forward from beside the throne. His eyes are chips of flint. "Son," he says, his voice a commanding crackle, "this is an embarrassment. End it." Reese's jaw tightens. I see a flicker of conflict in his eyes, a war between the instinct of the bond and the cold logic of his duty. His wolf, I can feel it through the tether that now connects us, is howling, fighting his control. Mate, ours. Protect. But the king, the man, is stronger. Or perhaps weaker. He looks at me, and his face becomes a mask of stone. The warmth of the bond between us turns to ice. "There has been a mistake," he announces, his voice ringing with chilling finality. The words echo in the cavernous hall, each one a hammer blow to my soul. There is no mate for me here. A physical pain, sharp and visceral, tears through my chest. It feels as though a part of me has been ripped away, leaving a gaping, bleeding wound. I stumble backward, the platter finally slipping from my numb fingers. It clatters to the floor, the sound unnaturally loud in the stunned silence. Roasted pheasant and gravy splatter across the pristine stone, a messy, pathetic symbol of my ruin. He does not even flinch. His eyes are glacial. "You will be punished for this disruption and for your presumption." His gaze sweeps over me, dismissive and cruel. "You will stand guard outside my chambers tonight. From dusk until dawn, you will not sit. You will not sleep. You will contemplate your place." He turns his back on me. The act is so absolute, so final, it steals the very air from my lungs. The bond screams in protest, a silent, agonizing shriek that only I can hear. The crowd parts for him as he returns to his throne, leaving me alone in a circle of scorn and shattered hope. The scent of him is still on my skin, a mocking reminder of the 5 minutes I believed I might belong. My punishment is set. I am to be an ornament of his rejection, a public spectacle of my own unworthiness. And as two royal guards haul me to my feet, their touch rough and impersonal, I realize my suffering has only just begun. I am to be exiled from his heart, right outside his door. The corridor outside the Alpha King's chambers is a long, cold canyon of stone and shadow. My thin maid's dress is no match for the chill that seeps from the walls, a cold that has nothing to do with the night air and everything to do with the gaping void in my chest. The pain of the rejected bond is a constant physical ache, a phantom limb that has been brutally severed. Every breath is a reminder of the emptiness where the warmth of his recognition used to be. The guards deposited me here hours ago, their expressions a mixture of pity and contempt. "Dusk until dawn," one of them had repeated, his voice devoid of warmth. "Do not move from this spot." And then they were gone, their heavy footfalls fading down the hall, leaving me in a profound and echoing silence. My station is directly opposite his heavy oak doors, carved with the dire wolf sigil of the royal line. I can smell him through the wood. The scent of pine and frost is tainted now with something else, something acrid and volatile. His anger, his regret. No, I cannot allow myself that hope. It is the scent of his beast, his powerful wolf, raging against its master's choice. The bond, though broken and bleeding, still carries faint echoes of his inner turmoil. It is a miserable comfort. My feet are already aching, my back a landscape of protest, but his command was absolute. I will not sit. I will not falter. It is a strange, stubborn point of pride. He has taken everything from me in a single breath. He will not take my obedience. Let him see that even in my humiliation, I have discipline. Let it be a silent testament to the mate he threw away. Hours crawl by. The torches in their sconces burn low, casting long dancing shadows that twist into monstrous shapes. My mind, exhausted and raw, begins to play tricks on me. I hear whispers in the silence, the cruel laughter from the great hall replaying in an endless loop. Wolfless. Servant. Nothing. The words are a corrosive acid, eating away at what little self-worth I have left. A new sound cuts through the haze of my misery, a faint, dry skittering. It seems to come from the walls themselves. I straighten, my senses, dulled by pain, suddenly sharpening. It is not the sound of a mouse or a rat. It is stealthy, purposeful. I press my ear against the cold stone of the wall, holding my breath. The skittering is closer now, accompanied by a low, guttural chittering that makes the fine hairs on my arms stand on end. It is a sound I have never heard before, yet a primal part of me recognizes it as profoundly wrong. Then I see it. A sliver of darkness detaches itself from the deeper shadow beneath a tapestry down the hall. It is not a trick of the light. It is solid yet fluid, a patch of living night that oozes across the floor. It has no discernible shape, but I can feel a malevolent intelligence radiating from it. The chittering grows louder as a second, and then a third creature flows out of the stonework, their forms coalescing into hunched, insectoid figures with too many limbs and eyes that glow with a faint, sickly purple light. Shadow weavers, creatures of nightmare, spoken of only in hushed legends. They are said to be harbingers of an ancient evil, things that devour light and life. And they are moving silently, inexorably, toward the Alpha King's door, toward Reese. Terror, cold and absolute, seizes me. I should scream. I should run and fetch the guards, but my feet are rooted to the spot. My punishment was to stand guard. A bitter, ironic laugh almost escapes me. He put me here as a symbol of his shame, and now I am the only thing standing between him and assassins from a forgotten age. The leading creature is almost to the door. It raises a scythe-like limb, dripping with a viscous black ichor that sizzles where it touches the stone. It is aiming for the seam of the door, intending to slice through the wood and the locks. Inside, my mate sleeps, unaware. The bond, the broken, agonizing thing inside me, flares with a desperate, protective fire. Protect. Ours. Defend. I do not think. I act. I lunge forward, grabbing the only weapon I can find, a heavy iron torch from its sconce on the wall. The flame sputters, casting my terrified face in a wild, flickering light. "Get back!" I hiss, my voice a pathetic whisper. The creatures turn their glowing purple eyes on me. A wave of palpable cold and dread washes over me, a psychic assault meant to paralyze. It feels like drowning in ice water. My limbs lock up and the torch feels impossibly heavy. But beneath the terror, something else stirs. A deep, dormant power I never knew I possessed. It feels like a well of cool, quiet darkness inside me, a shadow that is my own. As the creatures surge forward, a wordless command rips from my throat. It is not a scream of fear, but a guttural sound of power. And the shadows in the corridor obey. The shadow cast by my own body stretches and writhes, peeling away from the floor. It rises up, a shield of pure darkness, meeting the creature's attack. Their scythe-like limbs strike my shadow shield, and the impact makes no sound, but the force of it shudders through me. I have no idea what I am doing, It is pure instinct. I feel a drain, a pulling from that deep well inside me. The torch in my hand feels less like a weapon and more like an anchor to the world of light. One of the creatures sidesteps my shield and lunges for me. I swing the torch wildly, and the fire connects with its foul hide. It shrieks, a high, thin sound like tearing silk, and recoils, its skin smoking. They fear fire. With a new surge of desperate courage, I push my strange new power. I will the shadows to do more than defend. I will them to fight. Tendrils of darkness lash out from my shield, wrapping around the creatures' limbs, holding them fast. They struggle, chittering in fury, their purple eyes burning with hatred. They are stronger than I am. I can feel my control slipping, the drain on my energy becoming a dizzying vortex. I am fading. Just as my strength gives out, as the shadow shield begins to dissolve and the creatures break free, a new sound echoes down the hall. The heavy, thundering footsteps of the royal guard. Someone must have heard the creatures shriek. The shadow weavers hesitate for a fraction of a second. Their glowing eyes fix on me one last time, a look of cold assessment, of recognition, before they melt back into the stonework as if they were never there. They are gone. I collapse against the wall, my legs giving out from under me. The torch clatters to the floor, its flame extinguishing, plunging the corridor into near darkness. My body trembles uncontrollably. The deep well of power inside me is empty, leaving me hollowed out and aching. The guards round the corner, their swords drawn. They see me, a crumpled heap on the floor, and the scorch mark where the torch fell. They see no enemy. What is the meaning of this? The captain barks, his eyes narrowed in suspicion. You were told not to move. I try to speak, to warn them, but my throat is raw, my mind reeling. Creatures, shadows. I manage to choke out. He scoffs, his gaze sweeping the empty corridor. The servant girl has gone mad from the cold, or she seeks more attention. He turns to his men. She has failed her vigil. She fell asleep and dropped her torch. A fire hazard. The king will not be pleased. The king's door opens. Rhys stands there, drawn by the commotion. He is dressed only in sleeping trousers, his chest bare, his hair disheveled. He looks every inch the predator roused from his lair. His gaze takes in the scene, me on the floor, the extinguished torch, the stern-faced guards. His expression hardens into predictable disappointment. She could not even manage a single night of penance, he says, his voice laced with contempt. He does not see the faint scorch marks on the floor from the creature's ichor. He does not feel the lingering malevolence in the air. He only sees me, the failure, the unworthy mate. I begin, my voice trembling. They were here, to kill you. The captain of the guard laughs, a short, ugly sound. Delusional. There is nothing here, Your Majesty. She is making excuses. Rhys's eyes are chips of ice. He looks at me, and I can see he believes them. In his mind, I am not a protector. I am a liar, a weak, wolfless girl trying to escape her punishment. The last ember of hope that he might see the truth, that he might feel the danger through our shattered bond, dies completely. You have failed, he says, his voice flat and devoid of any emotion. You have disgraced my command and endangered the citadel with your carelessness. He does not raise his voice. He does not have to. The coldness of his words is a blade twisting in the wound he already made. I am a king, not a zookeeper for pathetic strays. I will not have you in my sight. You are banished. Be gone from Moonstone lands by sunrise. If you are found here after dawn, You will be executed as a trespasser. He steps back into his room and shuts the door. The final, heavy thud of the wood slotting into its frame is the sound of my life ending. Banished, thrown away. Not just rejected, but erased. The guards haul me to my feet again. This time, there is no pity in their eyes, only disdain for the girl who had the audacity to be mated to a king and the foolishness to be cast aside. As they drag me toward the servant's exit, I look back one last time at his door. He is in there, safe, and he will never know that the worthless, wolfless maid he just exiled is the only reason he is alive to see the sunrise. The cold of the night is nothing compared to the frozen wasteland of my future. My wolf clawed at my insides, a phantom fury that had not ceased since I sent her away. "Fool!" he snarled, his voice a constant tormenting presence in my mind. "You cast out our soul. You threw away our heart for pride." I paced the length of my solar, the rich carpets doing nothing to soften the harsh, grating reality of my mistake. 3 months. 3 months since I had banished Alara. 3 months of sleepless nights and hollow days. The scent of pine and frost that once defined my power now felt like a sterile prison. Her scent, the impossible, intoxicating fragrance of night-blooming jasmine and scorched earth, was a ghost that haunted every corner of my life. I smelled it on my pillows, in the pages of my books, in the wind that rattled the castle windows. It was everywhere and nowhere, a constant, agonizing reminder of what I had lost. My kingdom was beginning to feel it too. An alpha king without his mate, especially one who has rejected the bond, is an unbalanced force. My temper was short, my judgments harsh. The pack felt my inner turmoil, a low-grade anxiety that settled over the citadel like a persistent fog. My father, the architect of my ruin, told me it would pass. "The bond will fade," he'd said, his voice slick with false assurance. "She was weak, unworthy. You will find a proper, high-born mate, and this foolishness will be forgotten." But he was wrong. The bond did not fade. It festered. It was a poisoned wound in my soul. And my wolf, my own inner beast, refused to let me forget it. He was at war with me, turning his strength against me, making my body feel like a battlefield. I ached with a loneliness so profound, it felt like a physical illness. Reports of the shadow creatures had increased. Small villages on the eastern borders were being found silent and empty. Their inhabitants vanished, leaving behind only faint scorch marks and a lingering scent of ozone and decay. My scouts could find no tracks, no conventional enemy. They spoke of living darkness and a cold that froze the soul. I dismissed it as peasant superstition, but the reports were becoming too numerous to ignore. It was the same nonsense Alara had babbled about the night I cast her out, a memory I tried and failed to suppress. The image of her crumpled on the floor, her eyes wide with a terror I had mistaken for deceit, was burned into my mind. That night, after I had sent her away, I had found it, a small dark smear on the stone floor near my door. When my guards had tried to clean it, it had sizzled, eating into the stone like acid before it evaporated. They could not explain it. At the time, I had dismissed it. But now, coupled with the reports from the borderlands, a sliver of doubt, cold and sharp, pierced through the armor of my pride. What if she had been telling the truth? The thought was so monstrous, so damning, that I pushed it away with brutal force. It was impossible. It would mean my cruelty was not just a mistake of pride, but a catastrophic failure of judgment that had endangered my own life. It would mean I had punished my mate for saving me. The door to my solar opened, and my beta, Lucian, entered. His face was grim. "Your Majesty," he began, his voice low. "Another report from the silent glade. A patrol was found. Gone. The same signs as the others." The silent glade was a neutral territory, a forest inhabited by a reclusive pack of shifters who valued privacy above all else. They were skilled warriors, not easily overcome. For them to fall victim to these shadow creatures meant the threat was escalating. "They ask for aid," Lucian continued, "or at least an audience. Their alpha wishes to speak with you. He is a lichen of an old line. Kyle is his name." I ran a hand over my face, the exhaustion a heavy weight on my bones. "An alliance? With the Glade Pack? They have refused any treaty for a century." "They say the threat is unprecedented," Lucian said, his gaze steady. "They believe it is the return of the shadow weavers of old legend, and they claim to have someone who understands them, a warrior who can fight them." A flicker of something, not quite hope, but a desperate curiosity, stirred in me. "A warrior? Who?" Lucian hesitated, his discomfort palpable. "They call her the Shadow Blessed. They say she came to them from the wilderness 3 months ago, broken and alone. They say she commands the darkness itself. 3 months ago." The timing was a cold fist clenching in my gut. The sliver of doubt grew into a chasm of dread. It could not be. It was a coincidence, a cruel twist of fate. "What is her name?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. My wolf fell silent, listening, waiting. Lucian looked at the floor. They did not offer a name, only a title. But the description— "Your Majesty, I think you should agree to the meeting." I knew then. With a certainty that was both terrifying and absolute, I knew. The fates were indeed mocking me. They had taken the woman I had declared weak and worthless, the woman I had cast into the wilderness to die, and they had made her a savior. She had not just survived my cruelty, she had thrived. She had found a new pack. She had found a new life, and now, I, the king who had thrown her away, would be forced to go to her and beg for her help. The irony was a bitter poison. My wolf, for the first time in months, did not snarl in anger. He spoke with a chilling, mournful finality. "You will kneel before her, king, and you will pray she has more mercy than you ever showed." The journey into the silent glade is a journey into a world I do not know. The forest is ancient, the trees so tall and dense they blot out the sun, creating a perpetual twilight. The air is different here, thick with the scent of damp earth, moss, and 1,000 years of undisturbed life. It is a place of quiet power, and my moonstone guards, with their clanking armor and proud banners, seem like loud, clumsy intruders. We are met at the border by a small party of glade warriors. They move with a silent grace that is unsettling, their eyes watchful. Their leader steps forward. He is tall and lean, with silver hair that falls to his shoulders and eyes the color of moss. The scent of him is clean and sharp, like river stones and wild herbs. This is Kal, the alpha of the silent glade. There is a calmness about him, a centered strength that is the opposite of my own fractured authority. "Alpha King Reese," he says, his voice a low, pleasant baritone. He inclines his head, a gesture of respect, not submission. "We are grateful you came. The threat to your lands may soon be a threat to mine," I reply, keeping my tone formal. "I came to learn what you know of these shadow weavers. We know they are real, Kale says, his expression serious, and we know how to fight them. But our knowledge comes at a price. It comes from one you cast aside. He knows. He has to know. The way he looks at me, with a hint of pity and a great deal of judgment, confirms it. He leads us deeper into the forest, toward their settlement. It is not a castle or a fortress, but a village woven into the fabric of the woods itself. Homes are built into the hollows of great trees, connected by swaying rope bridges. It is beautiful, and it feels more like a home than my cold, stone citadel ever has. And then I see her. She is standing on a high platform, overseeing the training of a group of young shifters. It is Alara, but it is not the Alara I remember. The timid, frightened maid is gone. In her place stands a woman radiating a quiet, lethal confidence. Her hair, which she used to keep in a tight, severe bun, now flows freely down her back, a river of dark silk. She is dressed not in a servant's drab uniform, but in dark, supple leathers that move with her. She is not holding a serving platter. She is holding a staff of dark wood, and the shadows around her seem to cling to her, attentive and alive. The bond, the wounded, dormant thing inside me, explodes. It roars back to life with the force of a supernova, a blinding, agonizing torrent of feeling, need, regret, longing, pain. It all crashes over me, so intense it makes me stagger. My wolf howls in my head, a sound of pure, desperate triumph. Mate, she is here. Ours. She turns, her head lifting as if she has felt it too. Her eyes, the color of warm whiskey, find mine across the clearing. The breath leaves my body. For a moment, I see a flicker of the same shock, the same raw recognition I saw in the great hall. The bond is a two-way street. She feels it too. But then, it is gone. Her expression shudders, becoming a mask of cold, impenetrable neutrality. She gives no sign of knowing me, no hint of the history that lies between us like a chasm filled with broken glass. Kyle follows my gaze. That is the shadow blessed, he says softly. The one who has taught us how to fight the darkness. She is our protector. There is a possessive pride in his voice that scrapes against my raw nerves. He is not just her alpha. He is something more. The thought is a blade twisting in my gut. She descends from the platform, her movements fluid and graceful. She walks toward us, and the clearing falls silent. The Glade warriors look at her with a reverence they did not show me, their king. She has earned their respect. She has earned her power. She stops before me and Kyle, her gaze moving from him to me. Ilara, I breathe, the name an ache in my throat. Her eyes, once so full of hope and then of pain when they looked at me, are now perfectly, chillingly blank. I do not know that name, she says. Her voice is cool and smooth as riverstone. I am the protector of this glade. You are the Alpha King of Moonstone. Kale tells me you have come seeking our aid against the shadows. She is denying me, denying us, denying everything. She is treating me like a stranger, a foreign dignitary. The coldness is more painful than any shouted accusation could ever be. It tells me that I have not just broken her heart. I have killed the part of her that cared. The power has shifted so completely it gives me vertigo. I am the one who is powerless here. I am the one who needs something. And she, the girl I deemed worthless, holds all the cards. Yes, I stammer, feeling like a fool. My royal authority means nothing here. My crown is just a piece of metal. We need your help. She looks at Kyle, a silent communication passing between them that makes my blood run cold with jealousy. Then she looks back at me, her face a beautiful, unforgiving mask. Help is not given freely, she says, her voice devoid of warmth. It must be earned. Prove to us that your kingdom is worth saving. She turns and walks away, the shadows stretching toward her as if eager to welcome her back. She leaves me standing there, stripped bare in front of two packs, the Alpha King, reduced to a supplicant. My wolf was right. I am on my knees. I just have not physically fallen yet. The grovel has begun, and I know with a gut-wrenching certainty that earning her forgiveness will be the hardest battle I have ever fought. The battle to save my kingdom is nothing compared to the war I must wage to win back my soul. The days that follow are a special kind of torment. We are given guest quarters in the glade, and I am forced into an uneasy alliance, a forced proximity that is both a blessing and a curse. I see Ilara every day, and every day she treats me with a polite, professional distance that is more painful than open hatred. She is a ghost in a life I should have shared. I watch her train the Glade warriors. She moves with an ethereal grace, her staff a blur of motion. She does not just fight, she dances with the shadows. She can pull darkness from the corners of the clearing, shaping it into shields or tendrils that disarm her opponents without causing injury. It is a power that is both beautiful and terrifying, and it is a part of her I never knew. I had looked at her and seen only a servant. I was blind. Kyle is her constant companion. They share meals. They spar together, their movements a perfect, synchronized rhythm. He looks at her with an open, honest adoration that I both envy and despise. He makes her smile, a small, genuine curve of her lips that I have never been privileged enough to witness. That smile is a dagger in my heart. He is patient where I was cruel. He is kind where I was callous. He represents everything a good mate should have been, and he is a living, breathing testament to my failure. My wolf is a constant, raging storm inside me. See? See what you threw away? He is worthy of her. He sees her. You saw only her station. The jealousy is a physical thing, a sickness in my gut. I want to stride across the clearing, rip her away from him, and roar at the entire glade that she is mine. But I have no right. I forfeited that right the moment I uttered the words of rejection. I am the villain in this story, and I have to live with the consequences. One evening, unable to bear the sight of them together any longer, I follow Ilara as she walks to a secluded pool at the edge of the settlement. The moon is full, and its light filters through the canopy, dappling the water in silver. She stands at the water's edge, and for the first time since my arrival, the mask of the shadow blessed falls away. I see the weariness in her shoulders, the deep sadness in her eyes. I see Ilara. The ache in my chest is overwhelming. I step out of the trees. Ilara, I say softly. She stiffens, her back to me, but she does not turn. I told you. That is not my name. Please, I beg, my voice cracking. Do not do this. Do not pretend we are strangers. She turns slowly, and her eyes are glistening with unshed tears, but her expression is hard. We are strangers, Reese. The man I thought was my mate would never have looked at me with such contempt. He would never have humiliated me in front of his entire court. He would never have cast me out to die. Each word is the truth, and each truth is a fresh stab of guilt. I was a fool, I say, the words tasting like ash. I was arrogant, I was blinded by my father's prejudice and my own pride. There is not a moment that goes by that I do not regret it. Regret is a hollow word, she says, her voice trembling with suppressed emotion. It does not warm you on a cold night. It does not heal a wound that has been carved into your soul. Your regret does nothing for the girl who had to fight off monsters in the dark, while the man who was supposed to be her protector slept peacefully behind a locked door. The blood drains from my face. What? What do you mean? A bitter, humorless laugh escapes her. You truly do not know. That night, your punishment, my vigil. Assassins came for you, the shadow weavers. I fought them. I have no idea how, but I did. That is how I discovered this power. She gestures to the shadows around her. I saved your life, and for my trouble you banished me. The chasm of dread that had been growing inside me opens up and swallows me whole. It is true, all of it. The worst possible version of my failure is the reality. I punished her for saving my life. I exiled my mate for protecting me when I was too arrogant to see the threat. The weight of it is crushing. I feel my knees weaken, the urge to physically collapse under the monumental weight of my sin. I did not know. I whisper, the words utterly inadequate. No, she says, her voice turning to ice once more. You did not, because you did not look. You did not see me. You saw a problem to be discarded. She takes a step closer, and the air crackles with her power. The shadows at her feet deepen. So do not come to me now with your regret, Alpha King. It is too late. The girl who loved you died in that hallway. She turns to leave, but Kyle is there. He has been standing in the shadows, listening. He walks to her side, placing a gentle, protective hand on her arm. He looks at me, and his calm, moss-green eyes are filled with a quiet fire. She is under my protection now, Reese, he says, his voice low but firm. Whatever existed between you is over. She is the hope of my people. I will not allow you to cause her more pain. He leads her away, his arm around her shoulders, shielding her from me. I watch them go, two figures swallowed by the twilight of the glade. The sight of his hand on her, of his quiet possession, is the final, devastating blow. I am completely and utterly alone, haunted by the ghost of a love I murdered myself. My wolf's voice is a mournful whisper in my head. He is right. You are poison to her. Let her go. But the bond, the selfish, desperate core of my being screams one word: fight. But how do you fight for someone you have already destroyed? The external threat looms larger with each passing day. The shadow weavers are no longer confining their attacks to the borders. They grow bolder. A palpable fear begins to seep into the very air of the glade. Our uneasy alliance is now a necessity for survival. This forces Ilara and me into strategy meetings, poring over maps of the territories, our shoulders sometimes brushing. Each accidental touch is a jolt of electricity, a painful reminder of the bond that sizzles between us, denied but not dead. In these meetings, I see the leader she has become. She is strategic, intelligent, and her understanding of the enemy is unparalleled. She speaks of them not as monsters, but as a force of nature with rules and weaknesses. They are drawn to despair, she explains during one tense council meeting, her voice clear and steady. They feed on it. That is why they attack isolated farms and frightened patrols. They are also repelled by strong, unified will and by fire. I watch her mesmerized. This brilliant, powerful woman was the one I deemed unworthy. The shame is a constant, heavy cloak. I try to contribute, offering my own knowledge of military tactics and the lay of the land, but my words feel clumsy and hollow next to her innate understanding. I am a king of armies and steel. She is a master of the very element we are fighting. Kale is always there, a quiet pillar of support at her side. He never speaks over her, but his presence bolsters her. He defers to her knowledge of the shadows, and she defers to his leadership of the pack. They are a team. The sight of their easy partnership is a constant grinding abrasion on my soul. One afternoon, I find them sparring in a sun-dappled clearing. It is not a fight, but a dance. Kyle is testing her defenses, forcing her to use her shadow weaving in new, creative ways. He is helping her grow stronger. He is being the partner I should have been. Later that day, Kyle seeks me out. He finds me by the stream, skipping stones across the water's surface, a pointless, frustrated exercise. "We need to talk," he says, his tone leaving no room for argument. I brace myself for a confrontation, for a warning to stay away from her, but he surprises me. "I saw your face when you learned the truth of that night," he begins, his gaze direct. "I see the way you look at her. You regret what you did." "Regret is too small a word," I say, my voice rough. "I destroyed the best part of my life out of stupid blind pride." "Yes, you did," he agrees, without malice. It is a simple statement of fact. Alara survived because she is stronger than you ever imagined. She came to us near death, not from the cold, but from the pain of a rejected bond. We healed her body, but the wound on her soul, that is another matter. He pauses, looking into the forest. "I love her. I would make her my Luna, my queen in a heartbeat." The jealousy claws at me, hot and sharp. I clench my fists. "Then why are you telling me this?" "Because I'm not a fool," Kyle says, turning his moss-green eyes back to me. "And I am not cruel. I see the way she looks at you when she thinks no one is watching. I feel the power of the bond between you, even broken as it is. It is a storm. What I can offer her is a calm harbor, peace, safety, but I cannot offer her destiny." His words stun me into silence. He is more noble than I could ever hope to be. He is willing to step aside, to put her happiness above his own, even if it means losing her. "She will never choose me," I say, the admission bitter. "Not after what I did." "The Alara you knew would not," he concedes. "But the woman she is now, she is a leader. She will make the choice that is best for the world, not just for her own heart." The Weavers are led by a powerful entity, a lord of shadows named Malachor. Ilara's power is the only thing that can stand against him. But her power comes from the same source as his. To defeat him, she will need an anchor, a tether to the light, or the darkness will consume her. I can be her shield, but you are the other half of her soul. Your bond, if it were whole, could be a forge, creating something strong enough to burn him to ash. He is giving me a path, a sliver of hope, but it is a path paved with thorns. "She has to choose," he continues, "and she will not choose a man still hiding behind his crown. The King of Moonstone is her enemy. If you want her, you must show her Reese, the man, the mate, not the alpha." He looks me dead in the eye. "You need to grovel, King, not with words, but with your soul. And you need to do it in front of everyone, so she knows it is real. You rejected her publicly. You must beg for her forgiveness publicly." He turns and walks away, leaving me with his devastating, honest wisdom. He has given up his own happiness for a chance at saving the world, and for a chance for Ilara to be whole. He has gracefully and with immense dignity stepped aside, placing the choice squarely in her hands and the burden of atonement squarely on my shoulders. I am left with the terrifying realization that to win her, I must be willing to lose everything I once valued, my pride, my status, my very identity as king. I must tear myself down to the foundations and pray that the man left standing is someone she could ever choose to love again. The time for apologies is over. The time for action is now. The Shadow Weavers, under the command of this Lord Malachor, have begun a full-scale assault. They are no longer picking at the edges. They are rolling a tide of darkness, threatening to engulf the silent glade entirely. An aura of despair hangs over the forest, chilling the air and leaching the color from the leaves. We are forced into a final, desperate stand. Ilra is the center of our defense. She stands on the great platform in the heart of the village, Kale and his best warriors forming a protective circle around her. My own royal guards, their arrogance long since replaced by a grim respect for the glade shifters, have integrated into the defensive lines. Our two packs, once separated by a century of mistrust, are now a single army, united against a common night. I know what I have to do. Kale's words echo in my mind. You rejected her publicly. You must beg for her forgiveness publicly. Leaving my post on the eastern perimeter, I walk toward the center of the village. Every eye turns to me. The fighting has lulled for a moment, the shadows receding as if gathering their strength for the final push. A heavy, expectant silence falls. I walk past my own guards, past the glade warriors, until I am standing at the foot of the platform where Alara stands. Her focus is on the encroaching darkness, but I know she feels my presence. The bond between us is a taut wire, humming with unspoken tension. Ilara, I call out, my voice clear and strong, carrying across the clearing. She turns. Her face is pale in the twilight, her eyes wide. She thinks I am here to give an order, to act the king. I do not give an order. I drop my sword. It clatters on the packed earth, the sound of final surrender of my old self. Then, in front of my guards, in front of her pack, in front of the man who loves her, I go down on one knee. The gasp from my own men is audible. An alpha king kneels for no one. I lower my head, baring the back of my neck to her. The ultimate act of submission, an offering of my life, my throat, to the one I have wronged. I was wrong, I say, my voice thick with an emotion I no longer try to hide. My words are for her, but my confession is for everyone. I was a proud, arrogant fool. I was a coward who listened to the poison of a bitter old man instead of the truth of my own soul. I lift my head, my eyes finding hers. I let her see everything, the self-loathing, the desperate clawing regret, the love that has been tormenting me for months. You were my mate, and I shamed you. You were my protector, and I banished you. I broke the most sacred law of our people and shattered the most precious gift the fates ever gave me. There is no excuse. There is no apology that can ever be enough. Tears are tracking down my face, but I do not wipe them away. Let them see their king weep. Let them see him broken. I am not asking you to forgive me, I continue, my voice cracking. I do not deserve it. I am not asking you to choose me. Kale is a better man than I could ever hope to be. And if you choose him, I will honor it, and I will fight to defend your happiness with my dying breath. I take a deep breath, the confession pouring out of me, a torrent of truth. I am doing this because you, and everyone here, deserves to know the truth. The failure was mine and mine alone. I am the unworthy one. I pause, my gaze locked with hers. The cold mask on her face has shattered, replaced by a look of stunned, raw emotion. Tears well in her eyes. But I am also telling you this, I say, my voice dropping to a raw, desperate plea. I love you. I have loved you since the first moment I scented you in the Great Hall, and my stupidity does not change that. If we survive this, the choice is yours. Entirely. You can have Kale's peace. You can have a life of your own. You can return to Moonstone as its queen, or you can watch it burn. Whatever you decide, my life, my pack, and my kingdom are yours to command. I am yours to command. I bow my head again, submitting completely to her will. I have laid my soul bare. I have given her all the power. I have held nothing back. I have become the supplicant, and she, the maid I cast aside, is now my queen, in all but name, whether she accepts it or not. The silence is deafening. I remain on my knee, my head bowed, my neck bared, waiting for her judgment. It is the most terrifying moment of my life. A soft footstep on the packed earth. I look up. Ilara has descended from the platform. She walks toward me, her expression unreadable. She stops directly in front of me. She could accept my submission. She could kill me. She could walk away. She reaches out a trembling hand, not to my bared throat, but to my cheek. Her touch is gentle, hesitant, and it sends a jolt of pure, unadulterated hope through me. A single tear escapes her eye and falls onto my face. It feels like a blessing. Reese, she whispers, and the sound of my name on her lips is the sweetest music I have ever heard. Before she can say another word, a terrible shriek splits the air. The lull is over. The final wave is upon us. From the deepest part of the woods, a massive form of concentrated darkness emerges. It is larger than the other weavers, radiating a cold so intense it feels like it is freezing the very air we breathe. It has a vaguely humanoid shape, crowned with horns of twisted shadow. Lord Malachor has shown himself. Alara's hand drops from my face. Her expression hardens, the warrior replacing the wounded woman. We finish this later, she says, her voice steel. If there is a later. She turns to face the encroaching darkness. I rise to my feet, my sword forgotten on the ground. My purpose is clear. My fight is not with the shadows. My fight is for her. I will be her shield. I will stand between her and any blow, any attack, and I will let her wield the incredible power she holds. I will prove my change not with words of submission, but with acts of devotion. The grovel is done. Now I must prove I am worthy of the grace she just showed me. The crisis is upon us. Lord Malachor glides toward the center of the clearing, his presence a vortex of absolute despair. The lesser shadow weavers surge around him, a tide of living nightmare. The air grows frigid, and the last vestiges of twilight are swallowed by his oppressive aura. Panic begins to ripple through the assembled warriors. Their resolve, so strong moments ago, starts to fray under the psychic weight of his power. Hold the line! Kaal roars, his voice a bastion of calm in the growing chaos. He and his wolves form a tight perimeter, their silver weapons glowing faintly, a small defiance against the overwhelming dark. But all my attention is on Ilara. She stands before me, her back to my chest, facing the abyss made manifest. I can feel the tremors running through her, the sheer effort it takes to withstand Malachor's influence. The shadows she once commanded are now turbulent and hostile, drawn to their master. "I cannot control them," she says, her voice tight with strain. "He is too strong. He is pulling them away from me." "Then do not control them," I say, my voice low and urgent in her ear. I place my hands on her shoulders, not to restrain her, but to steady her, to pour my own strength into her. "Be the storm, not the leash. You are not just a weaver of shadows, Ilara. You are moon-touched. Your power is not his. It is older, purer. It is darkness born of light, not of emptiness. Feel the bond between us. Use it as your anchor. I am no master of magic, but my wolf, my soul, knows this to be true. Our bond, fractured as it is a conduit. I close my eyes and focus all my will, all my love, all my desperate need for her, and I push it toward her through our connection. I feel my own energy drain, but I do not stop. I am pouring my life force into her, becoming her foundation. Something shifts. I feel it in her, a change in the energy she is radiating. The fear is receding, replaced by a core of unyielding iron. She takes a deep breath, and when she opens her eyes, they are glowing with a soft, silver light, the light of the moon itself. The shadows around her feet stop their chaotic churning. They calm, turning from a hostile gray to a deep, velvety black, loyal and attentive once more. "He is mine, Reese," she says, her voice now echoing with a strange, dual resonance, as if her own voice and the voice of an ancient power are speaking at once. "Keep the others off me. Always, I swear." I finally retrieve my sword from the ground. My place is here, guarding her back. I am no longer an alpha king leading the charge. I am a shield for my queen. It is the greatest honor of my life. Malachor stops, his featureless face turning toward us. A voice that is the sound of grinding stone and forgotten tombs echoes in our minds. The lost daughter returns. "You have her power, little spark, but you do not have her will. Your ancestors turned from the true dark. I will correct that mistake. Join me, and we will remake this world in perfect, eternal silence." "I am not my ancestors," Ilara calls out, her voice ringing with defiance. "And I am not alone." She raises her staff, and the shadows of the entire forest answer her. They peel away from the trees, from the ground, from the very air, coalescing around her. She does not throw them at Malachor. She draws them into herself. Darkness flows into her, and for a terrifying moment, I fear it will consume her. But the silver light in her eyes brightens, containing it, shaping it. Her body becomes a nexus of twilight, a perfect balance of light and dark. Malachor shrieks in fury and sends a wave of pure necrotic energy at her. Before it can reach her, I move. I plant myself in front of her, raising my ancestral sword, an artifact forged with the silver of a fallen star. The blast of darkness hits the blade, and the impact sends a shockwave of force that throws me back against her. The pain is immense, a searing cold that burns through my armor and into my bones. But I hold. I do not fall. Behind me, Ilara completes her gathering of power. "Now, Reese," she commands. I drop to one knee, giving her a clear path. She thrusts her staff forward, and from its tip erupts not a wave of shadow, but a concentrated beam of pure, solid moonlight. It is the essence of her power, the light within the dark made manifest. It strikes Malachor dead center. He screams, a sound that tears at the fabric of reality. The moonlight does not just strike him, it unweaves him. His form begins to dissolve, the darkness that comprises him unraveling like thread from a spool. The lesser weavers, their master being destroyed, shriek and disintegrate into harmless motes of dust. This is not the end, daughter. His voice echoes one last time, faint and fading. The void remembers, and then he is gone. The oppressive cold vanishes. The suffocating despair lifts. The natural sounds of the forest rush back in, and a collective, ragged cheer rises from the surviving warriors. They have won. Ilara sways on her feet, the silver light fading from her eyes. The staff slips from her fingers. I surge to my feet and catch her as she collapses, her strength utterly spent. I hold her in my arms, her head resting against my chest. Her scent, jasmine and scorched earth, fills my senses, a scent of victory and home. She looks up at me, her whiskey-colored eyes searching mine. The adrenaline of the fight is gone, leaving only the raw, unresolved truth between us. The war with the shadows is over. The war for her heart is at its final, critical moment. Reese, she whispers, her voice weak but clear. I am here, I say, my voice thick. I am not going anywhere. It is her choice. Everything hangs on this moment. She can push me away, choose the peace Kale offered, or she can finally accept the broken, humbled man holding her. She raises a hand, not to my cheek this time, but to the center of my chest, directly over my heart, where the ache of the bond has lived for so long. Mine, she whispers, the word a soft echo of the primal claim I felt in the great hall. It is not a question, it is an acceptance, a declaration. Relief, so powerful and absolute it feels like I am drowning in it, floods every part of my being. I lower my head and press my forehead against hers, closing my eyes. Yours, I choke out, the word a prayer and a promise. Then, now, and always, yours. The war is over. We have won. And in the ruins of our battlefield, we are finally beginning to heal. In the quiet aftermath of the battle, with the first hints of dawn painting the eastern sky in hues of rose and gold, we stand in the now peaceful clearing. The surviving warriors are tending to the wounded or resting in weary, grateful silence. Kyle approaches us, his expression serene. He looks at Ilara, held securely in my arms, and a soft, genuine smile touches his lips. He nods once, a gesture of understanding and release. The world needs its balance, he says, his voice quiet but firm. He looks from her to me. He is your storm. You are his anchor. The glade is in your debt, both of you. He then meets my eyes, and there is no jealousy there, only a solemn charge. Do not fail her again, King of Moonstone. Her heart is more precious than your crown. I know, I reply, my voice filled with the gravity of his words. I will spend the rest of my life proving I am worthy of it. Kyle gives Ilara's shoulder a final, friendly squeeze, and then walks away, his dignity intact, leaving us to face our future. Ilara pushes herself gently out of my arms, standing on her own, though she keeps her hand firmly in mine. She is weak, but she is not fragile. She looks up at me, her eyes clear and resolute. The bond is still broken, Reese. Acknowledging it is not the same as healing it. She is right. My grovel, her acceptance, they were the first steps. The completion of the bond must be a conscious, mutual act, a true joining of equals, not a king taking what is his, but two souls choosing to become one. Then let us mend it, I say, my voice trembling slightly. Here, now, as we are. No crowns, no titles, just you and me, she nods. Just Ilara and Reese. I lift her hand to my lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles. Then I guide her hand back to my chest, placing it over my heart. I cover her hand with my own. I, Reese, Alpha of the Moonstone Pack, accept you, Alara of the Moon Touched, as my mate, my Luna, and my queen. I offer you my heart, my soul, and my strength. I pledge to honor you, to cherish you, and to stand as your shield for all my days. My wolf purrs in contentment, his rage finally soothed. Ours, at last. Alara mirrors the action, placing her free hand over my heart as well. Our four hands now a warm knot of connection between us. Her voice is soft, but it rings with an undeniable power, the same power that defeated a god of darkness. I, Ilara, protector of the silent glade, accept you, Reese, Alpha King of Moonstone, as my mate, my Alpha, and my King. I offer you my heart, my soul, and my shadows. I pledge to trust you, to stand with you, and to be your anchor for all my days. As she speaks the final word, a surge of energy, warm and golden, erupts from our joined hands. It flows through me, a blissful healing light, sealing the fractured edges of the bond. The constant, dull ache in my chest that has been my companion for months vanishes, replaced by a profound sense of peace and wholeness. I feel her presence inside me, a steady, calming light in the heart of my inner storm. Her scent is no longer a ghostly torment, but a living, breathing part of me. The bond is complete. It is no longer a thing of pain and regret, but a beautiful, perfect symphony. I pull her to me, and our first kiss is not one of fiery passion, but of deep, reverent relief. It is the taste of forgiveness, the feel of coming home. It is the sealing of a promise made in the face of oblivion. When we break apart, the world seems brighter, the air cleaner. We are scarred, yes, but we are finally whole. 3 months later, we stand on the great balcony of the Moonstone Citadel, looking out over our kingdom. The sky is clear, the land peaceful. Alara stands beside me, not behind me. She is not wearing a servant's dress, but the silver and black regalia of the Moonstone Luna, a crown of woven moonlight resting on her dark hair. She is every inch the queen she was born to be. My father was stripped of his titles and exiled to a remote monastery, forced to contemplate the ruin his pride had almost wrought. The alliance with the Silent Glade is now a permanent treaty, binding our packs as one family. Kyle is a frequent and honored guest at our court, a true friend to us both. Our new dynamic is one of true partnership. I am the sword and shield of the kingdom, its temporal ruler. Ilara is its soul and its magic, its spiritual protector. My counsel, who once would have scorned her, now defers to her wisdom. Her ability to sense unease and despair has made her the most astute diplomat and judge the kingdom has ever known. They see her strength, her grace, her power. They see the foolishness of my initial rejection, and it serves as a constant, humbling reminder for me to never again let pride blind me to the truth of the heart. I turn to her, taking her hand in mine. The bond between us is a constant, warm hum, a quiet conversation beneath all spoken words. "Are you happy here?" I ask, the question still holding a trace of my old insecurity. Alara turns her whiskey-colored eyes to me, and they are filled with a deep, abiding love that still steals my breath. She brings my hand to her lips, reversing the gesture I once made to her. "My happiness is not a place, Reese," she says softly. "It is you." She leans her head against my shoulder, and we watch the sunset paint the sky. We are not a fairy tale. We are a testament to the fact that the deepest wounds can heal. that the most profound mistakes can be redeemed, not by forgetting them, but by using them as the foundation upon which to build something stronger. We are earned, we are scarred, but we are whole. And in the quiet peace of our shared twilight, I know our reign, the reign of the Alpha and his shadow-blessed queen, has only just begun. The future is a vast, open territory, and for the first time, I am not afraid to walk into it, because she is walking with me.